Hey, we have a Perception Outlaw fishing kayak that I bought a couple years ago, and I want to make a change to it. I want to take and install a trolling motor to it, so we'll be making this thing all kind of neat and fancy. It's a nice wide open deck. You can walk around the whole thing. We're going to end up putting our bow numbers on it. We had our fish finder hooked up. We just have the wires for it down in here. You can walk across the whole deck. The whole seat pops up. We have spots that we can put little access hatches into it so you can access down below or for some storage. We'll end up mounting the motor right onto this nice little flat area here. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that yet, but I'm going to make my own mount, I believe. We'll have to cut out this access panel right here in the back and put a hatch so we can get under there and reach it from the underneath, and we'll be able to reinforce that a little bit. So what we have, I was going to buy a motor, but I had an older little Minn Kota trolling motor. I used to run this on a canoe, and it's been sitting for years, so I figured I'll try to make this work and save a little cash. As you can see, I already took the head unit off. There was just 6 screws in here that were Phillips head, and the whole thing came apart. Then there was 1 screw here that attached it to the shaft. I pulled the switch out. All of these were wired up to it, and another set of wires that ran directly to the battery. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to wire this yet or set it up, but we'll be doing some planning and we'll see how things make out for us. Okay, yesterday we ended up installing our numbers for our bow numbers for the boat for it to be registered in the state to run this motor. And next we're going to put the hatch in, or attempt to put the hatch in like we had talked about, so we can have access into here. It came in today. It's a 5-inch hatch kit. It looks like it comes with everything we need. It tells us to use some drill bits, and obviously it doesn't come with the tools. So we're going to be drilling and cutting. We'll see what happens. We're going to switch over to our safety glasses first. And we're going to get a hole in here. I kind of pre-marked the hole. It looks a little funny, but we're kind of going to follow just this line and it should come out okay. So we'll start in on a drill. And the scary part is putting holes in your boat. Now we got that hole drilled. Now we can get around this hole here with the jigsaw. Well, it cut through that pretty easy with just a metal blade on there. And now we have this little piece. I was told and watched other videos to save this in case you need to make a patch or something. You have an exact match for your boat. We'll be able to easily access up into here and anywhere else we need to inside the hull on this side over here. We'll just kind of take some of this stuff out of the way a little bit. And we'll check that for fit and see how it goes in. I like that. It goes in nice and snug. So we don't need to cut out any more of this, I don't feel. We'll clean up this little mess later on if I feel like it. If not, it'll be there for some other time. And next, we're going to take and we're going to just kind of decide which way we want to put our hatch. If we want to put it down so it opens, there's spots on here for it to be locking and unlocking. It really doesn't matter, it's just a personal choice, whatever you would prefer to do. Yep. Lock, unlock, open, close. I don't know. I guess we'll just put it like this. It looks a little better in my opinion. Not that it, again, not that it really matters. Or I could even just go up like this with it. I thought I liked it better like this for some reason. clips here are designed for holding and securing your whole cat bag in there. I may put them on after. We'll see. And the cat bag you can also take and put a screw in there. And that is supposed to kind of secure it so not everything flies away on you if you're out there in the wind and open up this hatch. And we throw the screwdriver on the floor. But now that I started that one, I think I can get it from up here. Yeah, it seems to be nice and secure in there now. They put a little knot on here, but that doesn't really affect anything. It's designed so if you put one of these inside, it'll hold it in place and you can pull it out to, you know, right out here, and you can do the cover. So I probably will put that on after, but for now, the cat bag is not waterproof from what I've been told. Nothing indicates that it is waterproof. And line up. And that's about it for today. We have our hatch cover installed. Now we have all the access that we need to get back here and start working on making our motor mount. And that'll be for another day. Okay, what we're doing now is we're making our mount for the motor. I ended up picking up a cutting board. It's very thick. It's a 1-inch thick piece. It took me a little while, but I was able to design it and make it so it fits right here. I also had some other pieces of the cutting board that were a little bit smaller. These are 1/2 inch approximately, and I'm going to use these underneath for backers. That was the purpose of installing the hatch. So I like the way that this fits. It's not obviously a perfect fit, but I really just care that it works. So we're just going to go to the drill press. We're going to work on drilling some holes here. I'm going to mount these with 1/4 inch bolts. They're going to be a 2-inch bolt, I hope, in the end. And we're just going to spray this up to keep the drill bit cool, because this is pretty heavy, pretty thick stuff, so it's going to take a little bit and it's slow going to drill down through and keep the drill bit nice and cool. It doesn't really drill out hard, it's just slow. Starting out with a smaller bit, and then we'll work our way up to the 1/4 inch bit that we need. This is just a little bit of soapy water just to help keep things cool. Alright, we're just going to keep drilling and making a mess here, and we'll get back to you with more stuff after we get our mount basically made. Okay, we're done drilling that I know of, if everything went right. As you can see, my drill press is a complete mess, which is okay because my wife likes a mess. And we're going to go back over and show you what we have done here. We have the mount. We took and we had used some bolts to just go through this piece of wood. We recessed them so it'll sit nice and flat here on what they designed to be the mount. We've drilled through the kayak as well, and I can see down to the bottom now, which is kind of fun and exciting and scary at the same time. We have these backing plates that are going to go up and underneath just for the reinforcements, and that's the reason for the hatch, so we can also take and put our bolts into that area. Somewhere I saw and heard that I should take and put a piece of string on my wrench. So when I drop it 300,000 times, all I need to do is grab the string and I can pull it back up through without fishing everything down and through the whole entire boat. I did decide on this bag to take and mount these little ropes. That does kind of help out. It'll just kind of keep the cover in place and keep the whole thing from walking all over and everywhere. So we'll just tie this to this. It's not it's going to have a lot of pressure on this wrench. It just needs to be able to reach in there. And it needs to do what it has to do. That's all. So if I did everything right, we should just be able to push our bolts down through. And we're going to be working kind of blind here, so it's not going to be exactly the easiest thing, I bet, to do, but hopefully everything will line up just right. it'll go anywhere right now, but okay, now because I tied the wrench on here, because I thought I was going to drop it, I didn't drop it once, but if I didn't take and tie this, I would have dropped it several times. I had to go fishing for it down into the bottom there. So that is it. It's on there. It's really stable. I like the way it came out. I may dress this up if I feel like it and put another piece of the cutting board across the top just to kind of cover these holes, make it look a little prettier if I feel like digging the saws out. But other than that, that is basically going to work. You know, I don't know if we can get this down here, how it looks on a video or not, but we might be able to get something down in that hole if we move the camera just the right way a few times. It can be pretty tricky to see in there, but not sure if we're seeing anything, but we tried. So I guess our next step will be at some point, we're working on getting this motor all set up with our electrical, and that'll be for another time. Okay, for our next step here that we have completed, we have the wiring just about done. I ran a cable and I just went to the store. I bought a 10 gauge with 4 conductor power cord. I figured this would just be the easiest way to go, and I just decided to dress up in the plastic. What I did up here was I took a slip connector that's 3/4 inch PVC, and then on this end it's threaded for MPT. It doesn't quite fit over the shaft, but if you heat it up with a heat gun like this one here, after a couple minutes it'll become very, very easy just to push it down, and this will expand right out. I added some silicone around here. I added a 3/4 inch cable gland, which all my wires were able to fit into it. It's a very nice snug fit. With the wires that were sticking out before, I took and I had used butt end connectors to it. I don't know if you can kind of see it, but they were heat shrinking. So I just added that in there and then just dressed it up with this just so you don't see those ugly connectors everywhere. We ran this, we just took some zip ties, put them all along. And what we did with that little control switch is we ran it all the way up to the front. I don't know if this is how this is going to sit or not. I'm sorry, not to the front, but we ran it up to a spot that I thought would be easy to operate it while I'm sitting. On the back of the switch, it's all labeled as to what connectors to use and where. As far as your colors go, it tells you exactly what to put the wires. I used the original cable for the battery that was coming off of the trolling motor. A couple glands in here for the connectors. In order to connect this switch through the box, I ended up drilling a 1/2 inch cover. I'm sorry, a 1/2 inch hole through the cover. And it turns out that it was a little bit bigger than a 1/2 inch. In order to get that in there and to get this little piece here, what I did was I went and I used my Dremel and just made the hole a little bigger and cut those holes in. To attach the switch to the cover, I used a 2-part epoxy and clamped it. Put it on there overnight, and it's very tight and very stable. So it's a waterproof box as long as I made all my connections really well. So we just need to take and we'll put the cover on here. was reviewing the last set of clips that I've done, and I realized I didn't do a good job of explaining and showing this right here, where I said I had to drill it and then take the Dremel. This is where I had to do that with. I had to drill it and then take the Dremel just to widen out a little bit and to be able to fit this in here. It just holds it in place, and then I took and I put a little silicone around it. So today we're going to set up, or at least begin the setup of our steering. I decided I wanted to go with a type of foot steering for this kayak. There's not a lot of room on here. It's going to be a little bit tight to work with just because we don't have a lot of height right here. What I did was I bought foot brace recreational with the rudder control. And it is from Select Designs. It's designed to slide back and forth in this track. We're going to end up doing some drilling. We're going to hold it in with some pop rivets. I was going to originally use screws, but I figured that they may not hold into that plastic that well, seeing how we don't have any access to the back side of this. So again, because we're going to be drilling, we're going to switch over to safety glasses. And I think we might possibly have the right drill bit here for this. If not, I guess we'll find out, right? So get that started. I already have my holes marked out for where I want it to go. One hole. Again, I'm going to save all these little pieces of plastic just because I was told in other videos and stuff like that you want to save it in case you ever need to plug up any holes. One rivet in. Get our other rivet in here. Yeah, I think I like that a lot better than if I were to use screws. It's in there, it's nice and tight, it's very snug. So this control here obviously won't be able to go this far forward, but at the same time I wanted to be able to take it off if I didn't want it in the way when I'm trying to walk the whole deck if I'm fishing. At least I could pop it off, I could set it under the seat, or however else I'm going to do this, set it out of my way somewhere. So later on we'll be able to do some adjustments and we will figure out exactly how I'm going to run my steering cables. I haven't really got that far yet, but I have watched a few other videos and come up with a few different designs. I would like to go down in through the hull of the boat, but I don't know if I can get down in there really comfortably without having a lot of stuff in the way. It may be something that I'll change later on. So now I'm going to install the rudder control over on the other side of the kayak. Pieces in place. I think I like the height of these things, and that's about where we're gonna stop for now for today. We will figure out the rest. That'll be the steering controls and running the cables back to the motor. Alright, we have our steering setup ready. I ran this stainless steel cord that I got on Amazon. It came with the little crimp connectors that we need to use down here. It was very easy to do. All I did was use an electrical crimping tool for it. So our pedals are in where I think I wanted them. Again, I can slide these right out. I can tuck them under the seat, get them out of my way. I'm going to be able to adjust these according to however it works or when I feel more comfortable. But as you can see, we're lined up all the way back to the motor. Each pedal will slide back and forth, and we will be able to turn our motor. I added in these little eye hooks. I figured that was probably my best bet on how to get this to come all the way back and up and across. These are just some stainless steel parts I put on so I can quickly take the motor off. These here are split rings. They are galvanized to the size as 3/4. They fit really nicely on here. This is a 3/8 threaded eye bolt. I did the same thing for up here, so I'll be able to take and actually lift the motor up. This here, I'll be able to pull a string. It'll pull up on here. I'll be able to pull the other string. We'll be able to lift the motor right up. If I wanted to, I could pull the pin out to be able to take the whole motor off. But I think it's probably going to be easier just to unscrew these two, loosen them up. So I think we have our setup done and it's ready to go. Some of our next steps, I think, is just going to be to get this out on the water. And we are toward the end of March, so it shouldn't be much longer before we can get out and give this thing a try. I'm really excited to see these differences, and hopefully I'll be able to spend more time out there without getting as tired after a good day of fishing from paddling so much. I think that's all I have at this time for you. So after going through this project, it's been fun trying to learn all these different ways and coming up with all these different ideas on how I could go about doing these different things. So whatever works for you and how you like to do things, the design can be your own. Use your mind, let your mind wander a little bit and think about what can possibly work, how you would like to make something work. I'd like to say thank you for watching my video. I hope this has been a help. Please feel free to ask any questions and I will answer them the best I possibly can. Again, thank you for watching and get outside and enjoy the summer.